The day to you. Good afternoon, good morning, good day. I don't know, whatever time it is. This is just my little, this is Doc's self improvement, self development, leadership, little thought process we do every other Thursday. Of course, as you can see, I am 45 minutes behind. 45 minutes behind. So I'm trying to play catch up. Actually, the other Thursday when I did it 2 weeks ago, I wasn't supposed to do it that Thursday. It should have been last week, and now I'm doing it this week, and I'm kind of off. It's like 10:40. Should have been on here at 10 o'clock. I actually forgot the day was Thursday. Why? My daughter that did the tea time devotional happened to tell me about the devotional, and I'm like, oh snap, it is Thursday, isn't it? So we're here. I'm not going to prolong the time too much. As always, this is just a little leadership nugget, a little leadership nugget that I like sharing periodically. I think I have some leadership skills after 40 years in ministry and leadership development and overseeing churches and bishops and other apostles and things of that nature. Having several businesses of my own as far as assisting other people establishing businesses. So we're not going to prolong the time. Thank you guys for watching me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my own personal Instagram and my own personal Facebook. If you want to chime in, that's good. If you make remarks, of course, I cannot see you on my personal Facebook page. I will have to check it out later. So other than that, I'm just going to share top of the morning to you, Pamela. And I can't remember who new me is on Instagram, but anyway, hello. What's up, Christy? Top of the morning to you. So I'm just going to talk real quick about being a person of action, becoming a person, or how to become a person of action. And we're thinking about the government standoff and all this political knuckleheaded that's going on. And so we see all that happening around, and people are scared and petrified in the event that the government cracks down or the government closes down. I thought that was you, Christy. I couldn't remember exactly, but I thought that was. Government shuts down and everybody panics. But here's the problem about panicking. You're going to get paid anyway. They're going to give you back pay. So you keep moving. And of course, my thought is if you're faithful in your tithes and your priestly offerings, God has to make a way out of no way. That's just what he does as for his kingdom citizens. But I'm not going to get into all that. So again, we think of action. So people become hesitant in their lives when they hear things that are going different from the way they want them to go. That shouldn't stop you from taking action. So there's a quick overview, if you will, as I get into this. And hopefully I won't be no longer than 25, 30 minutes at the most or less. And looking at an overview, you got to watch your hesitation. You got to understand action. And then you got to start. Now, here's the funny thing about hesitation. What's up, Deacon Jared? Here's the funny thing about hesitation. Hesitation will never get you the answer that you want. People always wait for the right time. There's never a right time. Normally, when you consider the right time, it's the wrong time and you missed a couple of beats. So you hesitate. Hesitation will never give you the answer that you want. So you have to learn to take action. Action will give you more discoveries than hesitation. Remember this, action will give you more discoveries than hesitation. It's kind of like back in the day when I was teaching leadership development, we'd always tell people one of the greatest things was to get to the top of the mountain. But you don't stop, because once you get to the top of that mountain, you can see other mountains that you can go to, that you can get to, right? You're at the top of this one, but now you see so many other mountains that you can conquer. Right, but you got to get to the top. You only get to the top by taking action. You can't keep making excuses. Well, and I'm gonna throw this at somebody as a curveball. People make excuses. My mama was this, my daddy was this. My daddy didn't tell me he loved me till I was 33. That was 20, 40. How many years ago? At 33, 50, 60? That was 20 years ago. Is it 20, 30, 40, 50, 60? 30 years ago. Jesus, Lord have mercy, God. 30 years ago, before he finally told me that he loved me. My father only went to one baseball game that I can remember, never went to anything I had. Baseball, football, no accolades, no awards, no nothing, right? My mother didn't go to anything because she worked, right? She didn't even come to my graduation because one of her friends told her that I wasn't going to graduate. So I had choices, right? I can let this prohibit me from taking action, right? Or I can cause it to make me start. And so many times we do these little hesitating things, or we allow certain things to hesitate us from taking action. So I want to deal with 5 keys real quick, if you don't mind, for becoming a person of action. 5 keys. Now, first of all, you have to overcome your fear. You know, and I said this, I've shared this with the church, and I said this a couple of times. And at this state of my life, I'm at this point to where as I will no longer dumbing myself down so you can feel like you're great. It's just something I'm not going to do. You know, people take your kindness and they take your jovialness for weakness. Don't never get stupid and think I'm ignorant because don't think I'm stupid. Ignorant means I don't know everything. So ignorant is okay. And you just need to study some more. But now I'm not stupid. Trust me, long shot. What a poor friend that was. Yeah, silly friend. I'm gonna tell you that story one day, pal. Just stuck on stupid and leaning on dumb. All right, because there's behind that, anyway, we'll talk about that because I don't want people to think I'm being arrogant. But I just did some things. Like I dropped out of school for a month or two and I still finished with a B average. It's just dumb. Oh God, it's just dumb. But God is good. And so fear debilitates action. Fear of taking action, fear of moving forward, fear of charting a new course, fear of changes in life. And change is good, right? Because change shows intestinal fortitude within you on really how far in life you really want to go. It's kind of like people say, well, I retire. How can you retire when there's so much knowledge to gain and so many people to impart the knowledge that you've gained with the knowledge that you've acquired? How can you retire? How can you just give up and go fishing? I can see taking a vacation every now and then, but how can you? So, and a lot of people fear retiring, or a lot of people fear doing something different. And what fear does is fear debilitates action. And so what we have to do now is we have to identify our fears. We have to identify our fears. Now, I had a fear of being successful. I really did. I had a fear of wisdom and being knowledgeable, right? I really did. I really did. I fought at going after my degrees until I finally said, "What the heck am I afraid for? Because I'm smart. I'm not dumb. I mean, I'm not slow. I'm weird, but that's another subject." And so I literally had a fear of knowledge. Chrissy says she wants to go fishing. I do too. I had a fear of knowledge. I had a fear of being successful. Not so much as the fact of myself, but how it would change my surroundings, right? Because I always liked my surroundings. But as you grow in certain things, your surroundings will not adapt to your changes. And you have to let those surroundings and let those people go. Because what they're doing is they're prohibiting you from growing. And then a lot of times, if they see you grow, they'll say that you think you're better than them. And it's not that you think you're better than them. You just want to grow further, and they don't want to. So you have to identify your fears. Now, when you identify your fears, it then allows you to take action quicker. Now, the fear of vulnerability is good. So since you see that, you know that you have to go through that, right? Vulnerability is not really a weakness. Vulnerability is a goodness, right? Because we're all vulnerable to a certain extent to certain aspects in life. And these are things that we have to learn to grow through as we go through, right? Because once we put ourselves out there, we have to make sure that we're positioned with what we need while we're out there. Right? I'm vulnerable anytime I speak, anytime I teach, I'm vulnerable. Why am I vulnerable? Because somebody always has some false accusations or something dumb to say, or they don't like the way I said something, or there's always something that irks somebody's nerves. But it's kind of funny. I remember this when people always try to judge or come against something I teach or something I say. Some of the problem with people is they don't know what they don't know. And then when they hear something different, they don't realize they don't know what they just heard. Right? So I allow myself to be vulnerable to teach something that you just might not know and come against. But I'm going to still teach, because if I don't, then I have a fear and I have to walk on and I have to stretch myself out into that. Hopefully that helped. So we also got to look at another key as far as overcoming your fears, that all good things come to people that take action. All good things. I never forget, we started a janitorial business some years ago. My wife and I, we had a couple of contracts, did some things. It was a good business, lucrative business. I did that while still working at the post office 12 hours, right? People talking about I'm tired. No, I tell you now, I can only sleep 4 hours, me personally. If I do 6 hours, I got an attitude, right? Because I'm always got to be action. I always got to go. I always got to go. I always got to do something, right? I have to keep moving, because all things come to people who move and take action. Right, I started a trucking company with $1,000. A trucking company with $1,000. Literally took over a guy's truck payments. He signed the truck over to me. I went and got my tags. I got my incorporation paperwork. I became a company. Not just, I've been an owner operator for years. I've had 2 other rigs before that one. And this time I started an established company to where I can lease trucks onto my company, right? And my brother helped me. My brother was a great financial asset. And I think we finally ended up with like 4 trucks running. I took action. And I didn't wait till everything looked good. I took action. All good things come to people who move and take action. Now, the second thing is you have to be prepared to make quick decisions. Now, here's the funny thing. So somebody's going to say, well, you always tell people to pray about things. Well, I stay prayed up so I can keep my mind made up. Check that one. I stay prayed up so I can keep my mind made up. Why? Because I know there's going to always be some opportunities that lies before me that God is going to show me, and I need to be before his face. So once the door opens, I know which one to go into and which one to close myself. So I stay prayed up so I can keep my mind made up. In other words, I have to be prepared to always make quick decisions. Look, now we cannot do everything at once, I'm sure, but what we can do is do something now, right? Can't do everything at once, but we can do something now. So always bite off one bite at a time. I never forget one of my sons in the ministry back in the day. He took me one time because he caught me off guard. He said, Reb, it's just like eating an elephant. So I'm dumb. I'm like, so how the heck do you eat an elephant? He said, Reb, you don't know how to eat an elephant? I said, no, how do you eat an elephant? He said, one bite at a time. I said, boy, stop. I said, you need to quit. So again, because I can make quick decisions, because I'm prayed up to keep my mind made up, then I just take off one bite at a time. Right? So in essence of what we do now is we think through what we would consider to be potential problems before they get there. So in other words, because I stay on a focus of moving, right? Because I'm always contemplating moving or something changing or something around me being rearranged, I'm always processing the end before the beginning, right? That's what the Lord taught me. I'm always processing potential problems before the problem arises. Which way am I going to go? What am I going to turn? And how am I going to maneuver this? So you have to think through things. And here's what I love about God. He always shows us the picture before the situation. Right? That's if you're in that prayer, if you're seeking God, if you meditate. He always shows you a picture of things before you get to the thing. So you have the process of understanding how you need to go through the thing. And because you've already saw what the end of the thing is going to be, you can keep moving. You can keep moving. So you got to think through potential problems, right? Now, here's what a guy by the name of Roy E. Disney stated, and this is what I like. He said, it's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. So that's a whole nother thing. If you know your values, then you understand your decision making process, right? You're not going to make a decision that's going to not validate your values, okay? You're not going to make a decision that's going to go against your principles or against your values, right? So in other words, if you know your values and you know your principles, especially your God-given values and principles, then you're not going to make any bad decisions. So you keep moving and taking action. Right? You know, if this door is not the door for you, you're not just going to go in it because you feel like it. You're going to be like, no, that's against my values and my principles. Even though the income is there, it's going to take me away from the things of God. It's going to take me away from my family, or it's going to do something negative that I don't want to be associated with because it goes against my values. So in order to make quick decisions, you got to know what your values are. And if you know what your values are, you're going to make proper decisions. And you need to practice your values. So in other words, when you make quick decisions, they're going to come easy. Because some people say one thing, but they live another thing. That's a whole nother subject, right? And so we just go into that. So here's what John Wooden said. I like John Wooden. John Wooden said, don't wait to make the decision until it has been. Don't wait to make the decision until it has to be made. Don't wait to make the decision until it has to be made. In other words, move quickly. Move quickly. I said quickly. Move quickly, right? Keep your foot in action. Now, number three, if anybody knows me, and I shared this the other night, because you'll see this little bookshelf. Now, you can't go in my office, right? Because my office has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking in my office. It has 5 bookshelves that are 6 feet high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have 5 shelves. And I don't like this, right? So in my office, I got papers on top of my books because I got study stuff that don't have anywhere to put it. And so I just got papers and tablets full of notes and papers sticking out of it, but I know where they're at. And I say that why? Because you have to have a growth plan, right? Anybody know leaders are readers? I've taught that for years. I believe that. At one time, I was reading 3 books a month. Now I'm down to 2. Actually, I was reading 4. Now I'm down to 2. I just like reading. I like knowledge anyway. Grandmama always taught me, if you got it up here, makes no difference how you act, as long as you got it up here. And St. Thomas Aquinas said, never allow a man's character to prohibit you from getting to the never allow a man's character to prohibit you to get to the content that his character is hiding from you, right? So I believe I can learn from anybody, right? Because I don't know where they're hiding, right? So you judge a man by his cover, but I judge a man by his content. I need to hear content. I need to see content. So you say, what does that have to do with becoming a person of action? Well, you got to have a growth plan, right? And you need to work on the growth plan, right? You need to read the Bible, books on building yourself up, building up your stamina. I taught actually quantum theory and quantum law, quantum physics. I taught that because I read the books and it's in the Bible, right? So you have to get a growth plan. You have to be growth oriented, not goal oriented. I've never been goal oriented. I'm blessed. I'm fortunately blessed. I have 3 doctorate degrees, but my goal was not to get a doctorate degree. My goal was to grow. And I tell people my first doctorate was my doctorate of theology, and I taught the teacher in the school, right? And I did a couple of pieces of paperwork, bam, I got it. I mean, and they say, well, how'd you learn all that? Well, they got libraries out here. If you don't have money, the books are free. They have libraries. So I had a growth plan, not a goal plan. But because I had a growth plan, I could take action, and my goals that I didn't see were met. Right? When I thought about my 3rd doctorate degree, I didn't even think about it. I'm study growing. Anybody knows me, I study every day. I try to take 2 to 3 hours a day just studying, researching something. Of course, I'm biblical, so I'm always doing something from a biblical aspect to teach truth. I'm always learning something from a leadership viewpoint to teach truth. I'm always pouring into me so I can pour into others. I ain't that right, Pamela? I'm here with you. I understand. So you got to have a growth plan, right? Because most people get to the place to where, again, let's look at this. People go to college. We all got the same degree. Everybody got a doctorate of theology. People got doctors of divinity. I have a PhD in religious education. So everybody has those different degrees, right? What changes you is what you read after the degree. Most people, the degree makes them. The degree don't make me. What makes me different is what have I done as a growth plan after the degree. So in order for me to be a person of action, I got to have a growth plan, right? I'm growth oriented, not goal oriented. And you got to always be under construction. I'm always under construction. I'm nowhere close to being perfect. You know what I'm saying? All I know is when it's finished, I want the Lord to say, well done. When it's finished, put on my tombstone, he's finally completed the work, right? Because I'm going to keep growing, right? I'm going to take action according to my growth plan. And you got to always be under construction. I don't care what you learned 10 years ago. If you're at the place today that was you was last year, then you're not growing. I forgot the president, I think it was Roosevelt. When he died at 82, he had a book on this pillow, growth plan. Study growing. Now, number 4, I'm trying to hurry up and get this out of here. Number 4, become an early riser. I think I talked about that earlier. Be an early riser. I know me and one of my daughters that's on here now, she gets up early, hits the gym. Well, we both do, right? Be an early riser. I'm up 4:30 every morning. I'm like clockwork. Whether my clock goes off or not, my body gets up at 4:30. It just automatically does it. I guess that's from working in the fields as a kid, because I was supposed to be a migrant worker back in the day in Florida. At least that's what I learned as I got older. But become an early riser. So in other words, it's not the fastest person, but the person who starts first, right? So it's kind of like in the Army, they used to say, be all you can be, and we've done more before 6 o'clock in the morning than the average person, some kind of stuff like that they said when I joined in 82. But you got to become not the first person, not the fastest, but become the first. Get in front of the game. So by the time people get up, I've walked a couple of miles, went to the gym, lifted some weights, ate my breakfast. So by the time 8:30 comes, then I'm ready to go. Right, I'm getting ready to study. I already did up and did everything I need to do. And normally, me, if I'm walking or something, unless I'm with one of my children, I got a book in my head. So while I'm walking, I'm still reading, right? That's my growth plan. I'm an early riser. So you don't have to be the fastest person. You just need to be the first person. You need to get in front of the game, right? So check this out. Whoever does more action during the day, who has more, can then give more, right? Whoever does more action during the day, he has more and can give more. So what you can also do is something I haven't done in a minute, I guess now because I'm all focused, is write your priorities down and then set a time limit. So I have a certain time limit for certain things, which is why I mess up because I overextend myself because I'm always talking. I just run my mouth. Especially when I'm at the gym. Gym is ministry to me. Gym is teaching to me. Gym is impartation and influence for me. And so, but you set your priorities, write them down, set a time limit, and then also tell somebody what you're doing for accountability. So, there's one pastor here locally that I fellowship with, and we're going to meet tomorrow morning. So I will let him know what my function is in the next 30 days, because we normally meet once a month, once every 2 months. Some of my sons or daughters that I fellowship with, that I'm close with, I let them know what my process is, right? Because they become my accountability, right? Because they'll ask me the next time we get together, well, Dad, Doc, Rev, or pastor, or apostle, did you do so and so and so and so? They become my accountability. You always need that accountability, and that's still dealing with becoming an early riser. And then you can check certain things off. So number five to stay alive, and I'm gonna let y'all go. I pray this little bit of taking action will help you. So it's real quick. Capitalize on your strengths. Capitalize. Everybody has a strength. Capitalize on your strength. Now understand this, that we all have certain strengths that we want to take action on continually, because this is where we get the highest return. I get the highest return off of studying. That's just me. I get the highest return off of reading. That's just me. I get the highest return off of fellowship, spending time with people that I care about. That's just me. And what I get out of that is the highest return. Well, what kind of return do you get out of fellowshipping with people and talking to people and spending time with people? I get life, right? Because they encourage me, they build me up, they strengthen me. Just the fact that I have a place to talk and somebody to communicate with, and they're my lifeline, right? You can't do that with everybody. They're my lifeline. And I get a return from that, because as I'm feeding, they're also feeding me, right? And you have to be careful of that. So the fifth thing is the easy thing. Know what you're strong at and capitalize on those strengths. Whatever your gift is, whatever your purpose is, whatever you're strong at, capitalize on that. And the more you capitalize on that, that'll give you your highest return. Always remember, capitalize on your gift, and that'll give you the highest return. And so as we dealt with this real quick, I want to talk just how to become a person of action, how to not deal with hesitation, how to overgrow hesitation, overcome your fears, because fear debilitates action. Be prepared to make quick decisions, right? Because you have to think about it beforehand. If you spent that time meditating, concentrating, you know exactly how to make quick decisions, right? And you've already went through the process of whether this is going to be good for me. And your quick decisions and all your decisions should be based upon your values and your principles. And you got to have a growth plan. Again, readers are leaders. I read to succeed for myself. I'm not really doing this for anybody else. I'm not doing this to be great. My degrees didn't make me great. My degree is just a degree of information and knowledge that I've ascertained. I'm not yet comprehended everything in life that I need to do. So I'll probably wind up getting a fourth doctorate degree because I'm slow like that. But that's not my goal. That's just my growth. So because of my growth, I'm going to wind up talking to somebody. But anyway, you be prepared to make quick decisions. You overcome your fears. You got to have a growth plan. And you got to become an early riser, right? Get things done. You don't have to be the fastest. You just need to be the first. Then learn how to capitalize on your strengths. So here's a couple of action statements I just want to throw at you so we can let you guys go. And I hope you've been blessed by this. You have to preform to transform. You have to preform to transform. Right? You have to get yourself together. Right? You have to study. You have to learn. You have to acquire before you can transform. Right? You have to preform before you can transform. Hello, Whitney. How are you doing? You have to do these things. Don't talk, act. Everybody always talk. Everybody talks a good game, right? But I don't need no talk. I need some action, right? Don't promise, prove. Promises are made to be broken. So people will ask me, so Dr. Wright, do you promise? No. Pastor Wright, no. Doc, no. I don't promise anything. What's up, Byron? I don't promise anything, right? Because promises are made to be broken. But I will prove to you that whatever I say, I'm going to bring to pass. You know, back in the day, because y'all know I'm over 60. So back in the day, I'm trying to look at the verbiage, the word, what I want to say. Back in the day, we were known by our word, right? Just a handshake and our word. Whatever we said we were going to do, we were going to do it. If our word failed us, then it fails our life, right? So you was known by your word. Kind of like some areas, I was in a small town, people were known by the last name. So they knew the family they were from by the last name. And the family normally did the same thing through each generation, right? But you're known by your word. So don't promise, prove, right? Don't tell nobody, show. Back up what you say with what you've done. Simple as that. And confidence is built by action. Y'all want me to say that again? Here's the action statements. You have to preform to transform. Why? Because transformation is the point of the application. Don't talk, act. Anybody can talk a good game. Don't tell, show. Right? It's kind of like love. People always say, well, I love you. Well, you got to show me. You got to show me. You know, don't just tell me. Because, you know, actions speak louder than words. Right? You have to show me. That's right, Christy. You got to show me. Don't promise, prove. Prove to me. Don't everybody promise. Well, I promise you I'm gonna do it. No, prove to me. Right? And don't, like I said, and then back up what you say with what you've done. Remember this, confidence is built by action. So look, man, I appreciate you guys coming on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I pray that you've been blessed by this quick leadership junket on how to become a person of action. And we'll see you 2 weeks from now at 10 o'clock. But you know I'm gonna come on anyway. So I'm not gonna be, you know, we'll be on there just to assist you in your growth process. So as always, Lord bless. They call me the Doc. And I'm gonna be like Earth, Wind, and Fire and get away. And I'm out. Appreciate y'all. Peace.